Welcome, fellow travelers. It's Mickey Gold. Now, somebody today on Facebook was asking, what's so great about CO2? Carbon dioxide. I just took a course to become a breath coach, and this is what I learned from my course about CO2. Now, you might think a breath coaching course would be all about oxygen. However, our course was about manipulating carbon dioxide. Now, carbon dioxide helps make our bronchioles dilate. Carbon dioxide helps us absorb oxygen. Carbon dioxide brings us into that parasympathetic nervous system. Now, kind of is all saying the same thing if you really think about it. Now, when we hyperventilate, when we breathe too much, we are expelling carbon dioxide. We're getting rid of it. Now, you might have seen someone breathing into a paper bag in and out, and what they're doing is bringing that carbon dioxide back into that system, because when you get rid of that carbon dioxide, again, we got that constriction of the bronchioles. So if the bronchioles are completely tightened up, you're not going to have a chance to have yourself breathing and being able to relax. It's going to kick you into that sympathetic nervous system, which is that fight or flight, which is not helpful. And it's kind of this snowball that goes out of control. Now, the digestion, or the absorption, I should say, of oxygen, you require carbon dioxide. So, for instance, if you've ever supplemented calcium or iron, a lot of times you have to take something else with it to help your body absorb calcium or iron. You can take calcium or iron until the cows come home, and if you don't have some way to absorb it, it's just going to be floating around in your body, wreaking havoc. That's the same thing with oxygen. Now, oxygen is not going to necessarily wreak the havoc that too much of other things would be, but if you've ever used a pulse oximeter, you can have your blood oxygen saturation at 100%. And again, if you don't have the CO2 to help absorb it, it's not going to do you any good. And that whole thing about the parasympathetic nervous system, when we have enough carbon dioxide in our system, it's going to help us relax and release. Now, with my course, we have 3 different types of breath work. We have the coffee, the caffeine in the morning, we have the water, the balancing in the afternoon, and we have the whiskey, the relaxation, getting us in that parasympathetic nervous system. So we have, with that caffeine, that coffee breath, we are slightly getting rid of our carbon dioxide so that we're a little amped up. Now, if you have anxiety or if you have asthma, if you go too hard on it, you can tighten up those bronchioles and have an issue and really kick yourself into panic and be stuck in that sympathetic nervous system and have a panic attack or induce an asthma attack. And the water, the great thing about this is that it balances out. We're breathing at a rate that's balanced and even. So that way, if you're stuck in that sympathetic nervous system, it can help bring you back down. Or if you're, way too sleepy, it can help bring you back up. And this whiskey practice, it helps you relax. It relaxes the muscles. It can help you with your sleep. So again, when we look at this, when we pull back and look at this whole thing, it's all a balancing act. Carbon dioxide and by itself is not either bad or good. Same with oxygen, it's not either bad or good. It's finding that balance, finding that time when we cycle. We cycle every 90 minutes to 2 hours in and out of fight or flight into parasympathetic nervous system. And it's a dance. And if we're doing it correctly, if we're breathing properly, if our bronchioles are open, if we are in balance, we're going to have a much happier system. Because if we're always running on that fight or flight, we're going to wear ourselves out. Our system can't handle it. Eventually, we're going to have illness, disease, whatever the case may be. And if we're, a bump on the log, we're going to have other illnesses and diseases because we're not getting up and moving and doing anything. So again, There is no good, there is no bad. It's all about balance. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Peace, love, namaste.